Imperialis is one of the nicest Hoyas there is. The typical color.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of our amazing tour with Ted Green and Dorothy Green. So last time we have a little bit of technical difficulty, but this time, we are really happy to have them to show us their amazing garden in Hawaii. And yeah, Ted and Dorothy, I'll just let you guys take it over.
Okay, well, this is our house, and you can see the mountains in the background, and we're quite sure that there might be some Hoyas up there because some have gotten away. But anyway, we have plants hanging on of this tree. We've got a Fisheriana, we've got an excavata over there, and a Vitellina, and of course this one is verticillata. In the original description, it has about the whorls, and as you can see, this plant has them. But
so you guys, this is what outdoor Hoyas grow like, in comparison to our tiny apartment Hoyas.
Yeah, we don't have anything inside.
I'll tell you a little bit about our place out here. This little village of Ka'ava is about 25 miles from Honolulu. And we're lucky we live up here. This elevation is probably 100 feet. And the temperature here is a minimum of maybe 80, and the maximum is about 92 or so. So it's pretty good. Oh, and the humidity is always 50%. That's in mosquito measurements. So
I thought it would be a higher humidity. 50%. It's actually, I'm surprised it's only 50%.
It is. Sometimes it's way higher, and it just kills it. But I guess it doesn't ever go below 50. And I have to disagree with Ted on the 80 degrees minimum because it got down to 68 this winter. And we felt it.
Wow.
Like she said, there are Hoyas everywhere, and we've moved them around to make this picture better. But for instance, this thing right here, that plant is over 50 years old. And that's the one that we started on these Hoyas. It's called Guppy Eye, and it has 2-inch red flowers on it. I got that in Guadalcanal in the British Solomon Islands. But we've got them everywhere. You name it, look at it.
Oh, what's this one?
Well, we call it Welsh Mountain Zoo because Tony Jackson at the Welsh Mountain Zoo, we were staying with him and he gave it to us, and he didn't know where it came from either. Other people know it as Welsh Mountain Zoo. It's I don't know, take a guess. But it's lovely. And
no idea.
doesn't bloom very often.
I have to tell you a story about this little one. This is called a Cuda, and the thing about it was that Dorothy and I were collecting in Malacca, and a fellow took us out with his boat out to a tiny island, and that Hoya was everywhere. No other Hoyas, just that one. But the thing about it that I always have to laugh about, the fellow was a Muslim, and Dorothy couldn't quite make it up the hill. And he wasn't about it to put his hands on her butt. They'd give her a boost.
I needed a push.
Yeah, looking back at that tree, it has another one that I named, or partially named. And
it's everywhere through the tree. It's hanging down. And yeah, a year ago at Christmas, this tree was taken down by that tree. It was quite a mess, but Obtusifolioides survived.
Hoya australis from Australia, and believe it or not, it has seed pods on it.
Guys, seed pod. People are here are looking for seed pod like crazy.
There are 3 seed pods on this plant.
And that's what the flower.
Do you know what pollinate this particular Hoyas?
I don't know, but I wish I did. I'd set it to work in some other places. This is a Pubicarola.
Oh yes, Pubicarola. So Dorothy and I talked briefly last time about like the confusion between Pubicalyx and Pubicarola. So Dorothy, can you like just briefly explain like why there's like Pubicalyx and Pubicarola?
Yeah. Well, for years this plant with this shaped leaf was known as Pubicalyx. But then some people started investigating, and although there's no herbarium sheet, the original description says an ovate shaped leaf. So it doesn't match the description of Pubicalyx. We have another a plant around the back that's also in bloom that has the ovate leaf, and we believe that that is the true Pubicalyx, but there's no way to prove it without an herbarium sheet. But this does not have an ovate leaf, so this particular plant doesn't match Pubicalyx. So Pubicarola.
There are several others here.
Pubicarola,
This is the best Aphanis we have, and that's a very dark form, nearly black.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and it blooms.
And then right next to it, just for color contrast, those flowers are sort of a chartreuse yellow.
Yeah, Ted's got his Discidias everywhere too.
See this? We don't know the exact name of it, but it's Discidia Jerry.
Jerry?
Jerry was a gal who collected
Jerry.
Succulents. He's been going for a long time.
So for those of you who are not familiar with Discidia, Discidia is actually in the same family as Hoya.
Harryi.
This is not named correctly, I don't think. It's Kerrii. Most people would pronounce it Kerrii. I think it's Kerrii. And this is from Thailand, up in the mountains. We got 3 different kinds. There's a variegated animal right there. This one has obvious veination. You can see the veins. Right there.
Yeah. So this is also a Hoya Kerrii.
Yes, it has some slight fuzz on it. This one, slightly, it's very easy to feel it, but not easy to see it. And
awesome.
That's another one from like with the seed pods on it. Aramicola means by the beach, living by the beach. We have very few hybrids. And this is one friend of ours in Australia. He named it, what do you call it?
Iris Marie for his wife, Iris Marie Little.
But I don't think it was made with the right parents.
Well, he doesn't. Odorata is one parent, but he didn't know the other parent.
Okay, so one of the parents of Hoya's Iris Marie is Odorata.
Odorata, yeah. Vidiensis from Fiji. It's a really beautiful flower. It's a purple mauvey color. And last week it was in bloom. This week it isn't, unfortunately. Annulata is always like this, orange.
That's from New Guinea.
Yeah, it has just a pretty dainty flower, but I think it's really nice for you.
Does she pick up my voice?
Yes, don't you get closer and she will. Come.
This is one of Dorothy's favorites. It's called melliflua. And in Latin, it means dripping honey. So we've got them from everywhere. And we're not going to talk about every plant. This is a white, very fragrant flower.
Pimentaliana.
This is named after a guy that's in Sweden. He collected it in Saba.
What is this one? It's so big.
This one is Castbergii.
Wow, it's so big. How old is this plant?
20 years, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
when you went tripping with him.
These over here.
What is this? Runauensis, I believe. Runauensis.
The highest mountain in Saba is Kota Kinabalu. And This is one I've named several from up there. This is named after a district on that mountain at a lower elevation where vegetables are grown and got flowers. This thing right next to it, this is the one that makes Dorothy wealthy.
One day.
Everybody
day.
wants that thing. And it had a common name of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I
You can sure
that.
see why.
And it's going to bloom.
Yeah.
So
Yay!
I'm really excited about that because it's been a while. I can't
Yeah.
even remember the last time it bloomed.
I named this after two English people who were botanists in the 30s, and their families. They're famous for things they did.
It's really pretty. What is that?
That's Salata, sometimes known as white dragon, and it blooms all the time. I'm looking for a seed pod
Right
on
here?
this one too.
Oh, seed.
New
Yeah, but
flower buds.
it got one last year, but I haven't seen one this year. So I hope that moth comes to this one.
There's another one that has great value. Doesn't that look like a
Ooh.
turtle's back? Dorothy helps me this. See, my memory's shot at my
Oh,
advanced stage.
elliptica. They know, everyone knows elliptica.
Elliptica. And this, believe it or not, is
This is Burtonii, not F. Burtonii.
at Burton, named after
Chris Burton.
Chris Burton. And it's
Okay.
from the Philippines. This is from the Philippines. And over here we have another one that we like. And there's an argument about that one. They call it DS70. That doesn't mean anything. Its name really, it's Sangai. And it has those leaves that are always outside with that color on the outside. This is another one I named. I named it Callistophila, which in Greek means a good flower. I mean, a good leaf. You can see that how it's growing. Then there was one on the market just over there. We can talk about that. That's from Manila and it's called Memorial. You wouldn't believe that that's named after a cemetery, that Memorial Gardens.
Wow, so big.
This was in the trade. Oh, it made a big flash about a year ago. And they named it actually after the mountain that it was named.
Ganang.
Gunung means the mountain in Malay. These are the two side by side.
Okay.
They're the same animal.
Okay,
is-
so one.
But one changes color and the other doesn't. I don't know if that's true.
Okay, Callistophila, and then those are, one of them are Callistophila and the other one is Gangan.
Well, I think they're
Is that-
both Callistophila, but
Yeah.
one variation is Ganang Gading.
Interesting.
That's-
Okay.
That's all.
Gunung Gading is a high mountain on the west end of Sarawak. So
Okay.
that's what happens many times, that they give a varietal name to something that, and this is sort of our hospital where we bring things in and bring them up.
What do you mean by hospital? Like they're not doing so good and then you're trying to like, rehab them?
Yes.
They need a little extra care.
Oh,
Come and look at them every day. I don't know if that helps. And-
This one is really
Oh.
deceptive because that leaf gets to be 4 times that size.
Pretty
wow.
big right now.
What's that, Masaba?
Glabra.
Gabra,
Saba.
yeah.
What is it? Eponym? Where's it from in Saba?
Oh, up and up. And
Up and up. And
That was something the guy that went with me when I went to collect it didn't speak English and I didn't speak Malay, but it worked out real well. He kept asking me in
Awesome.
Malay, "Are you doing all right? Are you doing all right?"
this is another Pubi corolla in the chocolate tree. You see the chocolate?
Oh, look at the cow pot.
It's hard to believe that they're all different species on there. There's the Discidia, there's a Hoya, another Hoya.
Australiana pink.
Yeah.
And in the back is Lamingtonia. I'm not sure
Lamingtonia.
if somebody is calling that a different name. This one, Longifolia.
This is from India,
Longifolia.
has white flowers. I don't know why people aren't growing it anymore, but this was very popular. There's one right there.
Vitellina is all through this tree.
Vitellina.
Vitellina means the color of egg yolk. And it does have flowers that are orange.
It does make, and it makes a very nice plant if grown in a greenhouse, not out where we grow them.
Corniana.
The
Beautiful.
closest thing to it is lacinosa. Lacinosa means with little dips, like lakes. The thing about it is, this doesn't vary much from that over there.
That's Lucarota growing in there.
Let's turn around
And we can go across here.
So Dorothy and Ted, a lot of your Hoyas are growing on the trees. Like you just let them climb the trees. Awesome.
Yes, yes. Yeah, the more hardy ones, you know, like that Vitellina. I don't know if you can kill it. We just keep growing.
This is the first Hoya I named. We named it after a friend of ours in Australia, and that's Meredithii after York Meredith.
Meredith.
Now I mentioned about collecting things so much in Saba. Look at these. This one is, we just gave it a name. I had it listed as class, but it's given name now.
This was cast.
Badaensis. It's named after a district of
Bauensis.
Yeah.
Bauensis.
That's up on the east side of the mountain.
It's close to Ranauensis in the venation, as you can see, but it is different.
I brought this one around here. I brought this one around because I like those leaves with the spots on them. And here it is. Look how many flowers it has blooming. This is Lucii, and Lucii comes from Cebu in the Philippines.
Lucii, okay.
Lucii. And this is, I guess this, you know, over the years, it's been called latifolia, Loisandrusiana, but now that latifolia seems to be something completely different, I guess this is Loisandrusiana.
Well, we talked about it last time too with Dorothy and Ted. It's like the Loisandrusiana and also the latifolia. Like ID, it's somewhat confusing still.
Yeah, it is. And
look at this group right in here.
Yeah, we got several of them.
1, 2, 3, 4, right there.
And we've got another glabra over there with some brand new flowers coming out that are, I mean, leaves that are quite unique. This plant we gave to Waimea Gardens years and years ago. It's Hawaiian Botanic Garden up on the North Shore, and they gave it some back to us. So we're thinking it's slightly different from the glabra we showed you over there. So we'll just have to flowers, but I don't recall seeing this color leaves on the other one.
So you guys suspect it's like a different varieties of glabra? So. Okay.
What do you think of those leaves?
Those leaves are amazing and big, and the color is gorgeous. What is this one?
Well, we think it's Polystachya from Singapore, but people are saying Polystachya is now latifolia.
Oh my God. It's confusing.
Well, we call it Polystachya, okay?
Okay, we'll call that.
There are two from India, southern India, that have this same look about them. They're hard to tell apart. This is doesn't want to bloom for us because it's too warm here.
Wait, this is Venosa, you said?
Villosa.
Villosa.
Okay.
See a little fuzz on it? That's what villosa means. Now we have one globulosa.
Globulosa,
which is practically the same animal.
It's growing somewhat differently.
These are actually 1, 2, three of very succulent types from Thailand. And they can grow with maybe 3 months of water a year.
Oh, wow.
This
Very
is a hybrid
slowly.
of it.
That's Christine.
Yeah. Then we have a whole big collection of these. We've called it Germany because I got it from a woman in Germany years ago. You can see how it's, look at the leaf difference. If somebody talks about the size of the leaf, this is an adult leaf.
It's about 10
Right.
inches long.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we've got some new leaves coming out. You can see the veins way better in the new leaves, otherwise known as Jennifer as well. That
Okay,
one.
so Jennifer and Germany are the same plants, basically. Is that
Yeah,
right?
there's a story to that.
Okay.
Some people say it isn't, but to our knowledge, the two plants are the same. But you know, maybe someone one day will be able to prove they're not.
Plants here from the Philippines that are all related. This is, help me, Dorothy.
Golan Koena.
It's named after a nurseryman. Well, he has shops in Manila. This has white flowers.
Interesting.
You can see how it stretches out. Look at this.
Very, very fragrant.
Now look at this one. This one is growing on the limestone cliffs, like on up to Baguio. Now, if you compare that leaf,
This is Comengiana.
yeah,
Hoya
densifolia.
Comengiana. This, yeah,
And look at the difference. That's densifolia,
that's densifolia.
and the flowers are very similar.
We grow them together because they're just nice. They're very similar. Oh, that's another Germany. This is a Lagiorum. It just blooms and blooms and blooms.
You like
It's
you have really
interesting.
beautiful red flowers, huh?
Yeah, it is.
It's interesting about that because the people, the Ilag family, got a little bit upset because he gave it the name Elagiorum. Well, in Latin, you have to use that ending because it's a family. It's a group, more than one.
And we have a little thing that showed up
Oh, look,
on this
look,
tray in
look,
the
look,
last
look, look,
year.
look.
We can only assume what it is because we don't remember anything about it.
Cupola.
He just showed up. You're like, oh, we have a Hoyas there.
Yeah, it sort of blew. I said, Ted, what's this? First, I thought it was bilobata because the leaves were rounded, but then the leaves became elongated, so it's not bilobata.
So do you guys know what that is?
No. Oh, Ted thinks it's cupola, one that Dale Poppenberg named a couple of years ago, but we don't know. Another Discidia, more Discidias up there. They're everywhere.
Wow, see, guys, this is what epiphytic means because we always say that Hoyas and Discidia are like epiphytic species, and that's how they grow when they're not in our home. That's awesome.
We run out of space. We can't make cuttings and sell plants because we have no place to keep them. To keep new, so we just do cuttings, not plants.
Right, too many.
And a lot of these, like I've made a cutting of Welsh Mountain Zoo quite some time ago. It just sits there.
This is Obovata.
Obovata.
And Obovata, you normally has just a regular leaf like that that's green. But this is a chimera. It means what? Chimera means a dragon. Because look at the stems are black. And the next thing, when it has an umbel of flowers, some of them might be all black.
Wait a while on that.
Here's one I like. This is Caudata. It's from Malaya. And there are really two types of it. This and one that has leaves are about 8 inches long. This is one that I got back after losing it. Broke my heart. Imperialis is one of the nicest Hoyas there is. The typical color is a dark red. This is a white one. I got that by just north of the capital and it
On Palawan,
Palawan,
on Palawan, yeah.
and turned out to be white. I figure that's 1 in 10,000 that would ever be like
Oh,
that.
Yeah. And the color
Wow.
seems to be stable because, people in Thailand are selling it and it really is white.
You know,
Sorry.
Hoyas could be named after places or people or anything. This is named after a friend of mine who was a collector for the University of the Philippines in Los Baños. This Blas Bernazzi is the namesake of his. Unfortunately, he's been dead about 10, 15 years now.
Mm.
Can I say something?
Yes.
You probably see me wobbling around here. I'm not young anymore. In fact, on October the 10th, I will be 100 years old.
Wait, hold on. October 10th, like oh my God. I
You
didn't know
heard
that.
right.
I thought, oh my God, I thought like you were like maybe like 70 or something.
Oh, hey, I
You
owe
heard
you
right.
some money.
That is so awesome. So October 10th, is it October
Yep.
10th you said? So
Yep.
October 10th is your birthday and you'll be 100 years old.
You'll be 100. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we're
that,
having a big party.
Oh, that is so great.
These are
Bernie,
some
happy
interesting
birthday.
things. This is one that was from the Philippines, from at the lower elevations in where in the world was it?
I don't know.
I'll think of it tomorrow.
Okay.
And this is one that doesn't perform for us like it does many. This is the variety Eskimo.
Supposedly the one they call Eskimo, but
Right,
we've
right.
got some splashes.
Neither one of them has the color in it.
Biak, or they call it Colina as well.
Now, this is the
My.
one, if we had a lot of this, we wouldn't even talk to you. We'd be so rich. This is one that we got from
Hushkaliana.
Australia. But it was
Right.
just a mutation that showed up. And it's fabulous. This is one of the, I think there's only 5 Hoyas from Sri Lanka.
Right.
But that we keep chopping that back.
Not a slow grower. I mean, it's a slow grower. Oh,
Mm.
Pentophobia. This
Oh,
is,
okay, the big one.
yeah, this is a really nice plant. I've got one's changing color. One doesn't get quite as much sun, but look at the size of that leaf too. And I'm thinking now we're getting some sun back. I should put it in some more shade. But we've
too
got
much sun, too much sun for it, huh? You think?
I think so. I did move it around the front here so we could include it, but I think I'll put it back in its own spot.
We've been praying for sunshine and no more
For
rain.
months.
You're lucky.
My Waieti.
Yes.
This is another one that some people like. That's another one from the Philippines,
It's gonna bloom.
named after a
Which is
collector
nice.
for the university. Oh, she's walking up now to one which is fabulous.
Oh wow.
Look at that.
So this is the plant that we believe is Pubicalyx. See the ovate leaves?
Right.
And a nice surprise was when they started changing color too, because people like that. And this flower is so fragrant. My cottage bathroom is right there. She can smell it in the bathroom at night.
Oh wow.
It's
So
really nice.
this is the
Whoops.
pubicalyx.
Yeah,
Like, you know, that's match the description. Okay.
It matches the description. That's all. Yeah, so we believe that's what it is.
Dale and I wondered about this for years, about the thing that was called Felix is not that at all, because it has a narrow leaf. This is a variegated carnosa.
Oh,
Believe it
okay.
or not, there's a little discidia. You'll notice those puffed up leaves like that. Ants live underneath, and the ants have a relationship with a plant. and they produce by their dead bodies and all that, they make a fertilizer.
This
Interesting.
is another Australis. So it used to be called Keysii. Now it's just what, Ted?
Believe it or not, that's another Australis,
Yeah, I just.
Keysii, named after keys.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then we call this the circle. It's not much of a circle, to say the truth. But just where we're standing here, look at that.
Mostly areostemas are in here. It's a good place for them because they grow big and they hang down. And this one is called Black Star. I'm trying to, oh, here we go.
There you go. Nice. Oh, wow. Big flowers too.
For those
Yeah, they're really nice.
about 1.5 inches, the color of the finish down the front,
It's darker than that.
it's
actually.
darker than that, believe it or not.
And this big leaf thing down here is Monetii.
Yeah, this I named after a friend of ours, and this one I found it in the Philippines. But the funny thing about it is, normally species don't jump across the ocean. But if you go
Right.
over to Palawan, one of the professors at the university in Kota Kinabalu said, "What's this?" And so they gave me a leaf, and I said, "I know what that is. It has clear sap and white flowers, and it grows like a weed. You won't believe it, but from here on, it goes up, has been 20 feet up there. I cut it down to make it stay inside."
Oh, wow. So this thing was 20 feet up, like, you know,
It was
the
at one
tree.
time. It was at one
Oh,
time.
wow.
Now the
Oh, my
Discidias are way
goodness.
up there.
So guys, those are the Discidia, like you can see wrapping on the tree. Those
Yeah.
are those. Oh my God.
That's a pretty, I like that Discidia, that red one right
Oh.
there.
Yeah, here we go on some of these trees.
Mm,
Can you see that Discidia right there?
It is blooming.
Yes.
Right here.
Yeah,
Discidia plazantha
Plysantha.
means hidden flower. Here's one
Wow.
thing we want to show you. Right here is Hoya imbricata. Imbricata means shingle fashion. See how the leaves are over the top of each other? The thing
Right.
about it is this has no markings on it, no white marks. But if you turn around, can you see like warts on that manila palm? Can you see those?
I don't know if you guys can zoom in on that. The imbricata that has the markings is all
Okay,
over that.
Yeah, we can't really see that, but yeah, so there's like basically there's like imbrincata that have the markings on it, and then there's like
Yeah.
the one that you just show us that is
Yeah.
just the green one. Okay.
And we can't get those down because they're too high. And you see the ladder.
Well, I'm too
Yeah.
short or they're too far up there. But what we did is take some and put them down here where you can grab them. Because
Right.
to go after them is a pain in the neck. I mean, if I were to fall. We
This
have,
is- I'm just panning around the
well, here,
yard.
show them this garden.
Yeah.
This, you know, we have wild pigs here that come out of the forest. And
Oh my
from
goodness.
here on, where you see just a mess, was all planted with a beautiful maranta. They took it
About
out
3
because,
feet high.
yeah, the maranta has a sugary starch in its roots. There's another one from the Philippines.
Palawanica. This is a very nice plant that I put out here for it to get more sun. We've had very little sun for quite a while. So things are starting to respond to it. That's a nice plant. I'm looking for it to bloom. And this is one of the most popular Discidias that watermelon Discidia or obovata. Ovata, sorry.
That grows
Ovata.
in the mangrove
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah,
So
Australia
beautiful.
and then a little bit north.
it's got a bloom on it too, it looks
Oh,
like.
I can't hear them.
beautifully sunstressed.
Yeah,
the
it
color.
does. And it's got those nice stripes. that
The
people like.
flowers are the little yellow thing.
Yeah, I took a,
Gorgeous.
got
Yeah,
a-
you're right.
got-
This one
I've
is
got
popular.
quite a
Yeah.
and we were thinking of importing Gary's baby goat up here to run across the yard. We said, oh, that's all right, because mom and dad might come with her.
You guys have like all kind of animals, huh? Birds, chickens, pigs.
Well, the chickens and the pigs are not ours.
No. Here's,
They just run into your yard, right?
That's right.
here's a thing from New Guinea, and it's called littoralis. Littoralis means growing by the beach. And
Okay.
it has a cluster of little red flowers. We like that. That's in that certain group. Then this thing, you can see it all the way up the tree here.
Right.
What is it?
That's
Wow.
Is that Jerry?
Discadia auntie.
Oh,
And that's the variegated form. In the Philippines and south and west of there, the people grow this hanging from the eaves of their houses. Here's one that I like.
well, this is the same one that was down there, except it's variegated.
Yeah.
Sangii, DS70, Afbertoni, it's got all those names.
It's one of those.
It's a very nice plant and it blooms continually. It's growing up there among the Discadia too.
Stay here for a second.
Okay, you get over in front of me.
See this? That's
Right.
one of the largest Hoyas there is. That's Hoya Lauterbachii, named after a German. We had this
Okay.
plant before growing all over this tree. And when they bloom, they have little flowers that are about
Yeah.
that wide.
Flowers are gorgeous.
And they're so heavy they all hang down. But I don't know what happened. I think typically to cut something here and you don't know where the vine's going, you'll ruin the vine.
Mm.
It just looks like any of the other Eriostemas, but boy, when it blooms, it's all on its own.
We have so many plants. I guess I've named 17 or 18 different species. Here's one we named after a friend in Holland. His name is
Paul Shirley.
Paul Shirley.
Yeah,
Funny thing,
Oh, Paul
Paul
Shirley.
Shirley
that's
speaks,
Paul Shirley.
he speaks English all the time.
Yeah.
Perfect English. And we've been collecting with him and it worked out really well.
The Discadia.
Oh, there we are. See on the outside here? That's another Discadia, imbricate type, and it has ants living underneath the leaves. I like
Oh my
that.
God.
Those leaves are only about 1 inch to 2 inches at the most. This is the one we really like. It was given the name Fraterna because it looked so much like Coriaceae. Fraterna means brother, brotherly love. And these flowers are not real large, but you see a whole head of golden flowers.
Yeah, it's pretty
inside.
nice when it blooms. Oh, that's what's that one over there?
This one,
Yeah,
that's
Cardiophylla.
Cardiophyllum. My first hobby interest was with orchids. And you see, here's one. That's from Madagascar. Real fragrant.
We've got Skinneriana, Kalani.
Oh.
Kalani is an Eriostema named for Ed Gilding. And I wish it would bloom because I understand it has a lovely yellow flower. But it will sooner or later.
Quinquenaria means five.
Five
There.
again, like subquintupla
Over
novus.
here is one of the most famous Discadias there is. This is Nummularia. And Nummularia means coins.
Yeah, that's
The
a pretty
thing about
one.
this is you
That's
see that
really
little
pretty.
plant, but growing on the beach in Malaysia and over in there, they get so big and so heavy, they'll break the branches off the trees. There's a Hoya lambii named after Tony Lamb, a friend from Sabah. He's probably the world authority on agricultural crops. He wasn't born there. but
He's born
he,
in Sri Lanka, so he's born in the area.
yeah.
Ooh.
Look at that color.
That's Murray.
Oh, so beautiful.
There's a bunch of things that were named at the beginning of the 1900s. They were written up and all that, but they couldn't do anything with it. First of all, they didn't have any money. It was a bad season. The second thing is the way the things had to be described with Latin, and that kept them out. So then, like some of these names, like Merrill, after Merrill, who worked for the government, and they came up with different names, which I don't agree with. I think they should have had the original name. And shall we go down here?
Mhm. This, we don't know what it is. Got it off a professor in Manila's fence, and we just call it Juan Pancho.
One's
So-
another one that's dead now.
So Ted and Dorothy, so I have a question. So if you guys encounter like, Hoyas that have no ID or like you just don't know what it is, like, would you guys like, trying to investigate, or how would you guys find out the ID, or you just let it be?
Well, Ted used to. He and several other people would be all trying to find out what it was, and everybody would, and then finally, hopefully, they would reach a consensus of opinion, and they would put a name to it. But then and I think this has happened some years later, like somebody says, no, this is what it is. Two examples. One is campanulata. Everybody agreed it was campanulata, but one day Toril and I think Mikel Rhoda realized that there was quite a difference. And so now it is Dunamensis. And
Okay.
another plant was called Linusii, after the young man who found it. And so now Mikel Rhoda says, oh, that's that's actually Phylura. So
Okay.
That made me mad, because to cancel out the name of a plant so that he could use that name for something else just doesn't.
No, I don't know. I don't know how it worked. But anyway, eventually names change because people do investigate. Whether they're right, they're right or wrong. It's at least, so Ted used to do a lot of this. Now we can't.
Look at that leaf.
Oh, Fusco marginata.
You can see where you get this name. Fusco marginata
Yeah.
means a dark edge.
This is a lovely plant. I like that
And
one.
some of these things are from places that are the end of the world.
Comenzii, but they grow so slowly.
But look at that veination. This is Callistophila, one of my original ones. And here's one thing we haven't released to the public. This is a type of Meredithii. It comes from a place called Long Meow. I remember when what were they singing? Frere Jacques?
We came across a school on the border of Indonesia and Sabah, and there was a church school there, and the kids were singing Frere Jacques. It was so strange to hear that. This is globulosa. We showed you villosa.
Right.
And honestly, how would you know the difference? They say the only way to know the difference is when they flower. But no one ever flowers them. They need really cold weather.
Oh, interesting.
In Wales, that you see the two side by side, you can see.
Yeah,
I think that's with a lot of these things.
He said that they're very definitely a different flower. And David Silverman of DS70 fame, I have a letter from him stating that he saw the two flowers in London and they are definitely different. But now I believe they're synonymous. So how do you know? Okay, and here's a Polystachya that I guess is now latifolia. I don't know.
The people from the Philippines would like this. I don't know if you've ever been there. This is named after Surigao.
Yeah,
this
is pretty. I like Surigao-ensis.
Bigger and bigger.
Oh, Surigao-ensis. Okay.
Surigao-ensis. Yeah, I got a couple of plants coming along.
I have to tell you, I remember that place because the dirt road looked beautiful. It had, except it had holes in it. And you couldn't tell how deep the holes were because of the rainwater that was in them. Hey, here's something. Everybody knows Carnosa, and you can get it any place. You can't get that one. This is from Japan. This is growing wild in the southern Ryukyu Islands in Japan. The color's the same, everything. No milky sap, and it's really something. And this will grow at quite low temperature.
Yeah, because those islands are tropical, huh?
This Polystachya means many stems. And believe me, when this thing, from this point right here, the flower stems come out in maybe 5 or 6 or 7 of them. And then they come out and they bloom, and they will have hundreds of flowers.
There's a little, we're getting a new stem finally. We've had very little rain for months. I mean, very little sun. So the plants have suffered. But gee, do they respond when the sunshine comes back? You got to say that. Hoyas are good that way. There's a Benito Tani over there hanging in the tree.
That's another Filipino.
A lot of plants from the Philippines, I should say. Rephrase that. One of my favorite plants is Daisy Antha, and I think it's highly underrated because it's really pretty. The leaves are really pretty.
And this is called Hoya gravelans. Gravelans means to stink, and it sure does. You could walk within 20 feet of it and smell it.
That's diversifolia.
Yeah, this is one of the commonest things.
Yeah, and it's really pretty. Look at that.
Diversifolia.
It is really pretty.
And it got its name because they get all different sizes of leaves on it.
Oh, is that why?
But you could pick this out in the middle of the night. Just run your hand over that leaf and feel that sharp edge turn down.
Yeah, it's becoming one of my new favorites.
Hey, this is obovata again. This is not the one that has the black stem or the black flowers.
Okay.
Have we run out of Hoyas? Oh,
Actually, this Ted, this does have the black stems.
See this little thing overhead?
Oh,
That's Littoralis again. When I first saw that, I thought, oh, I'm going to make $1 million out of it. The leaves, you can see, the whole growth of the thing is very modest.
yeah.
The flower I didn't care for. Do you want that to be the end up there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Juliana.
Right over here, it's hanging down. It's everywhere. It's among all of these trees. That's Melliflua. Unfortunately, I'm sure it blooms, but we don't get to see it because I think it's climbing up to the sky, to the sunlight before it blooms.
Oh
Two things about that. The name, it was called Fortuna for at least 50 years, which it isn't. And the second thing is that plant is at least 50 feet across. Show you what can happen to it if they get loose. That diversifolia on the other corner of our property.
It got loose too.
That's loose. And that thing must be 30 feet wide.
So I imagine that this one and diversifolia are up on top of the hill. So we have our work cut out for us, just trying to take care of each and every one of these plants, and it's not easy.
So yeah, what's your care routine then? Because obviously they are mostly outside, right? And they got like lights and the sun and stuff like that. And like watering wise, do you guys fertilize it at all? Like what do you guys have to do to like keep all of these beautiful plants alive?
Well, we haven't done too much in the way of watering because there's been so much rain. So the only plants we would be the ones under cover. And yes, Ted has fertilizer in the hose that we fertilize with. We don't do a lot. So
it is harder for like older stem to develop new shoot. Is that true?
I don't know. I've heard
Hmm.
both sides. Some people say they prefer a mature stem, but maybe
Right.
maybe this is too mature. So
Mm,
I mean, I wouldn't send a cutting of this to anybody. I would wait until it got,
right.
you know,
Undergrowth.
a couple of nodes on something like this.
Right. That makes sense.
You've probably seen me walking around pinching the tips off. Well, when you pinch the tip off, then these other ones grow. Like there's a little leaf there coming. That way we have
Oh.
more of a bushy plant. Because like we said, some of these will grow so fast and so large.
Yeah, no, I want, okay, so I do have a couple of questions. So you just said like pinching the tips off. So,
Yeah.
and that helped the new growth to come out.
He always says that if you pinch the top off of here, of this plant, but I get the whole plant.
that.
I'm not a very good photographer. Then that will cause the new growth to shoot out from the stem.
Mm.
That's Ted's theory.
And another thing, if a plant is growing up and you take it and bend it down so there's less than horizontal, it will make new growths along the stem.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
Will you
So
buy
second
them?
question, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, second question. So I remember the obovator you show us have like some splash on it, so as the
Yeah.
diversifolia. So do you think that it's from the light? Like, is it more light, it developed a splash, or what is your theories on that?
I don't think anyone knows because we've tried it both way. The obovata on the other side gets white markings on it, and it is in more
Right.
shade. The one
Okay.
on this side gets the pink. So I can't figure it out. I've tried, like with that Croniana, the one they call Eskimo. I tried moving
Yeah.
it into different places, and it seemed to me that when it wasn't in the sun, it got more markings. But I didn't follow up on my experiment. But I really don't know.
Right.
But I was talking to Carol about this same subject, and she said, do you remember these Hoyas getting so much splash on the leaves 10 years ago? And I don't. It
Okay.
almost seems like the splash is a new thing that's happening. What do you think, Ted?
You mean in general
Do
change?
you remember years ago that these Hoya plants would develop all these markings on the leaves
No.
that people are nuts over? No, so I'm wondering if it has to do with synthetic fertilizers but yeah, I like even the pubicalyx, the splashes everywhere, pubicorollas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything has and I don't recall diversifolia having those markings. And now I'm seeing markings coming up on everything.
Look at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, Chicken Farm always had markings.
You wouldn't believe, but these leaves on some of the growth can be that big. It's really something.
Okay, so let me ask that then. So you guys have been traveling around for so many years and collect all these Hoyas. So when the Hoyas are in the wild, right? So there should be, then do you observe a lot fewer like markings or anything like that, when it is in the wild?
No, we haven't. It's only been in these last, say, 4 or 5 years that the word splash seems to have come into existence. So that's kind of strange, huh?
Yeah, I'm just really curious.
Yeah, well,
very interesting. Good to know.
Yeah.
I never heard of that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So maybe people can, there's a lot of old time collectors and growers like Jan Sword and Susan Schwarzenfogger. Maybe it'd be interesting to ask them the same question.
Big flowers, right? Yeah. That's awesome.
No, I didn't. We've got a subcalva and it blooms and it's coming along and we love that.
Wait a minute. That subcalva.
Smells like grape juice.
Yep.
That's Ted's favorite, right? He said last
That
time.
is Ted's, that's Ted's favorite.
Oh, you should see this. It's a dark rose pink color, and they're about just less than an inch in diameter. And then that fragrance is
Yeah,
fabulous.
it's very nice. We used to have a huge plant of this growing in the plumeria tree, and it bloomed and bloomed. Doesn't last long.
Right. Look at
That's
those
about as
flowers.
far open as the pictures come. I mean, the pictures, the flower opens. And I think it's,
Megalast.
so
Panther.
I think it's closing up. But when you have a plant that's large and has several umbels on it, it's like they're blooming all the time, because as one umbel is closing up, the other one's opening. And that's so pretty.
Did you tell them the name?
Megalasta. One of my favorites is Florantha with, it's from Fiji, I think, or Samoa. Fiji, and it has green flowers, and that's so pretty.
So how many Hoyas do you guys have, Ted and Dorothy, you think?
I would think probably 120 to 150.
Okay.
Yeah, and we don't have many repeats. This is a huge Australis. I don't like the look of the leaves.
That's an Australis. It's
That's
so
an
big.
Australis, yeah. Yeah, that's just,
God.
here's those Pubi Corollas. Like this one has no splash. These.
Yeah, I agree.
Dorothy mentioned this. This is one from Fiji. And believe it or not, you know, a place in Fiji, within 20 miles, they've got 4 species. And one of them,
Oh, wow.
is very interesting.
You asked about variegation. This is an acuta. At one time, it was fully variegated, and then it started to lose its. And then it had half was variegated, and I can't remember the bottom half and the top was green or what. So I put it out here to get it some sun, thinking that the variegation would come back, and it didn't. Except one day I found. Now it's been like this for 2 years, and nothing's happening. So I don't know, but it's interesting that they have these 2 leaves. Now Ted's going to say something right now.
In Hawaiian, you'd say malama pono. No, wait a minute, that's wrong. Ahui ho malama pono, which until we meet again, keep the faith.
Well,
oh, dang, that's so sweet.
Yeah,
that is so
and
sweet.
And of course, always aloha, which means everything.
That's what I got confused about. I've been to Hawaii a couple of times, and then it just seems like aloha can be anything.
Yeah,
Can
it
be hello,
is.
can be bye.
It's goodbye and hello, and I love you, and I care for you, and yeah, it's a good word. It's a very good word. It
Pay
should,
your bills.
Yeah.
no.
As we discussed earlier, the Hoya market or Hoya craze, like everyone are into Hoyas right now, right? So what kind of suggestion you guys would have in anything, you know, any aspect of growing Hoyas or acquiring Hoyas, collecting Hoyas? What kind of, like, you know, suggestion you would have, or wisdom you would have to give the newer collectors?
Well, for me, I would say go look for the cheaper, easier to grow Hoyas, because they're really nice, but it seems everybody wants these really, well, I just call them the most sought after. And of course, they're the plants that have the very high price. For us, I can't grow them fast enough for the number of people who want to buy them. And
1/3.
yeah, but they still can't, they're still not that plentiful on the mainland, even for $300. And then, so if I have a plant and I sell it at what I think is a price that I'm fine with, once the cuttings are gone, they're gone. And there's just not enough plant for the number of people who want them.
I have looked at your website. In fact, Ted, I actually inquired with you a long time ago that was the first time I come in contact with you about a Hoya polylura. And then you told me that, yeah, you told me that, okay, it's too hot. It's too hot to grow polylura in Hawaii. We don't have it.
Yeah.
That's what you told me. Yeah. Yeah.
We've tried 3 or 4 times, and each time it dies.
There's a
Right.
whole group of Hoyas that come from India, and they're getting up high enough to where they will not grow in our climate. And that's one of them. There are a whole handful in the same boat, but they don't belong here. I'm very stupid. I brought back things that I've collected 4 times, and I should have my head examined because they will not grow here.
Yeah. So
Right.
stick to the ones you can afford and enjoy them, and then hopefully, you know, sooner or later you might be able to afford. The prices might come down, but there's lots of nice Hoyas, and I don't have time to market the Hoyas that I have plenty of. Just looking down here, I've got Diptera, I've got the Pubicarola, of course. I've got McGillivray over there. Something that might be a cross of Subquintupla nervus. Tony's pink acuta comes with a pink flower. Montana.
Oh, Mom, I like that one.
Yeah, I think people don't even think of those Hoyas, but they are nice.
They don't know them. There are
Or-
lots of
Yeah,
Hoyas.
yeah.
Nobody ever asks about them.
Sometimes if I'm trying to fill an order, and well, just there's one order I'm going to send out, and then we're sort of quitting for a while. And I'm sending her a Vidiensis as a sub for fungi, because it's such a pretty flower, and she probably has never heard of Vidiensis. I got it from, we used to have a huge plant, but anyway, I got this particular one from Jimmy Myers a little over a year ago, and it has bloomed beautifully.
Hi, Dorothy. Hi, Ted. It's Eve again.
Oh, hi, Eve.
I've been watching the background while I'm doing plant stuff as well. I wanted to ask, I know that when I emailed your Outlook, it said, you know, requests for cuttings. There's no request anymore for cuttings. I just wanted to be clear. Did you, because you were saying you have other Hoyas that you have lots of, are you wanting to advertise that you have all those other Hoyas? Because I think it's also a matter of people don't know what those Hoyas are.
Oh, they'd have to look in the catalog, but
right.
temporarily we shut down until the 1st of July.
Yeah, don't want to do it right now, and sort of regroup and spend some more time with the plants, because they have had a rough time with little sun and all that rain.
Okay.
And yeah, and I've been thinking of ways to market what I do have. So this is what I do have. So choose. Okay, Eve and Amanda. So shall we say goodbye?
I think that's all I have. Do you have anything to add, Eve?
No, I don't have anything to add. I think I'll find a button that says leave here somewhere. And well, thank you. And that was very pleasant.
Thank you again for your time, Ted and Dorothy.
Okay,
Until
bye,
next
Eve.
time. Bye.
Yes,
Thank
till
you
next
so
time.
much.
Bye.
Salamat po.
Bye.